In this video, we will teach you how to properly administer first aid for the following conditions: heat cramps, heat exhaustion, heat stroke, hypothermia, frostbite, and heart attack. Due to the fact that heat cramps can result from exercise or working in a hot environment, it is very important to stretch and have lots of water before taking part in physical activity. Here you can see that the girl that did not stretch or drink plenty of water prior to exercising in the hot sun is the one that is most likely to have sudden and involuntary leg pain, particularly in the calf, which are known as heat cramps. The first step in order to treat someone suffering from heat cramps would be to move them to a cool area where they are not in contact with the sun and are able to lay their legs flat on the ground and stretch them in order to start massaging or applying pressure on the cramping muscles, and then try to provide them with lots of water or electrolytes that'll help ease their pain. If at your disposal, then ice packs can be used as well. Next up, we have heat exhaustion, whose signs and symptoms usually include heavy sweating, faintness, dizziness, fatigue, weak and rapid pulse, low blood pressure upon standing, muscle cramps, nausea, and headaches. If you suspect heat exhaustion, the first step should be to move the person out of the heat into a shady area or an air-conditioned place. Then, lay the person down and elevate their legs and feet slightly. Remove any tight or heavy clothing while simultaneously monitoring the person carefully and ensuring that they are conscious and responding to you. Try to get them any type of water or electrolyte as long as it is non-alcoholic and does not contain any caffeine. If left untreated, heat exhaustion could result in heat stroke, which is a potentially life-threatening condition. Its symptoms include rapid pulse, disorientation, hot, red, and dry skin, lack of or excessive sweating, fainting or loss of consciousness, headache, nausea, and dizziness. Although the severity for heat stroke is greater than that of heat exhaustion, it is important to follow very similar protocols. The first thing one should do is move the person to a cooler place where they can be away from the sun and remove any type of restrictive clothing. Then, only if the person is awake and alert enough to swallow, then give them fluids, and if at your disposal, place ice packs on their armpits, back of the neck, and groin to ensure that they are properly cooled down. The symptoms for a stroke are indicated by the acronym FAST, which stands for face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time to call 911. In this scenario, you see two girls that are seemingly in normal and perfect condition taking part in activity, when suddenly one of the girls notices that she has lost all sense of mobility on the left side of her face. This sudden impairment of motor skills and inability to vocally respond when spoken to are indicative of a stroke and require immediate action, which primarily consists of calling 911 and noting when it was that these symptoms first appeared, as indicated by the acronym FAST. When comparing frostbite with hypothermia, both for the sake of this video and in general, it's important to understand that hypothermia induces frostbite, and frostbite is a much more severe case that consists of numbness, red, white, bluish white, or grayish yellow skin, harder, waxy looking skin, clumsiness due to joint and muscle stiffness, and pain and itching. First aid for frostbite consists of moving the victim to a warm environment where they can be allowed to reheat gradually, remove constricting or wet items, putting any type of dry gauze or fluffy cloth between the frostbitten fingers or toes in order to protect the affected area, seek medical attention immediately, elevate the affected area if possible, and only if medical care is delayed, then rewarm the area. Whereas hypothermia is characterized by shivering, slurred speech or mumbling, slow, shallow breathing, weak pulse, clumsiness or lack of coordination, drowsiness, confusion or memory loss, or loss of consciousness. The treatment process for hypothermia, although it is a less severe condition, it is equally as critical. It should consist of moving them out of the cold into a warmer and drier place, removing any wet clothing, covering them with blankets, and if alert and able to swallow, provide them with fluids. Attempt to call 911 and avoid applying direct heat so that the person can heal on their own. A heart attack or myocardial infarction occurs when the blood flow that carries oxygen to the heart is blocked. Although many people seem to show no early symptoms of heart attacks, some do experience warning signs hours, days, or weeks in advance. These symptoms usually include pressure, tightness, pain, or an aching sensation in the chest or arms that may spread to the neck, jaw, or back, nausea, indigestion, heartburn, or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, cold sweat, fatigue, and lightheadedness or sudden dizziness. Proper treatment for a heart attack should consist of immediately calling 911, giving the person an aspirin if the 911 operator recommends it, having them lie down and keep calm, loosening any tight clothing, and constantly monitoring their awareness, and if the person becomes unconscious, then begin cardiopulmonary resuscitation or CPR only if the person has stopped breathing.